Welcome to the Wednesday Team Prosperity Meeting. Once again, this is a weekly meeting that we have every Wednesday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and we don't do anything but just dive into stuff that will hopefully help your business and have an immediate impact coming off this. We still are in the summer. We've been talking about this for the last several weeks. People are still on the go. You're still going to the beaches, still going to lakes, still on the family reunions, still on the move. So what we need to be mindful of is A, this period of time, and then B, it's going to end. We're going to get into the absolute sweet spot of the year, mid-August through about Thanksgiving. So just do whatever you can to power through this time period, just knowing that we've got a lot of opportunity on the backside of this year. Think expansion, guys, and we talked about this before. This is the iPhone distribution from 2007 to 2018. Distribution of technological services that have an immediate or that have a beneficial and positive impact on people's lives can grow exponentially. So always, even on your worst of days, worst of weeks, things aren't going well, don't slip out of that growth mindset. Always think expansion. And we understand and we know that if we do this correctly in a virtual world, our distribution gets huge. And we always use this as an example. This teacher's got 88,000 online kindergarten students in her class. Obviously, she can never do that in a physical brick and mortar location. So this is the opportunity for her to reach a lot more students. For us, it's the opportunity for us to reach a lot more people in our desired persona. We do have the Home Run Derby going on right now. It ends August 27th, and then mid-August, we're going to start a 12-week year. So we got some stuff going on coming up that will, like I said, just kind of inspire you to get through the summer. We try to do some of those things, and the 12-week year is centered around that quarter where we're hopefully going to get a year's worth of work done. So last week, guys, we really went through an in-depth conversation on the changes that we're making and what that means. So we talked about the difference between a landing page and a funnel, understanding what to include and what not to include in the funnel top, opt-in as a key to starting the automations in the funnel. What is a campaign? What is a trigger? Mastering the art of starting conversation that leads to those giveaways or lead magnets, and conversion as book calendar meetings and appointments versus sales, especially in the very beginning. This week, we want to talk about, we're going to go into a multi-week series about how to implement some of this stuff that we've been building, where to find your persona, how to reach out to them, what to do, what are these platforms that you can get a lot done on and why? We're going to be talking, like I said, next few weeks about, where to go, what to say, how to do it, what platforms to spend some time on. But, the game plan remains the same all the time. We're starting from platforms like social media in order to build some general interest, get some general information over, to push people over to phone conversations. Now with the funnels, a lot of this will be pushed into calendar appointments for you. But if it's not calendar appointments, phone interviews, intro calls, whatever it might be, we use social media as a gateway to fill up calendars, phone calls, meetings, etc. The funnel is going to help you guys out. And we've talked about this a lot. The idea of creating the lead and then following up with that lead, being organized, is something that a lot of us fail at. So when we have something that we can put in a system that's got campaigns full of emails, text, voicemail drops that go out automatically once you've done your job on the front end, it's going to greatly help with pushing people through the pipeline, making sure they don't get forgotten. And then, like I said, getting us that key metric for conversion, which is the calendar appointments. LinkedIn and Facebook is the 1-2 combination for your partners in the very beginning. Now, Twitter, Instagram, all this other stuff, it has value, but I tried to learn all these platforms in the very beginning, and it didn't do anything but just confuse me, and it held me up. So what you want to do is start on one, understand it, go through it for a period of time, move on to the next one. You can build a dynamic business off these two sites alone. And remember, when you're looking at building your brand online, connecting, messaging, posting, interacting, engagement, groups, it's all there. So a lot of people use social media incorrectly. And we're going to go through some of that in the coming weeks. But essentially on the very top, when you're talking about where should I invest some time, LinkedIn and Facebook, definitely the 1-2 combination. It's really as easy as connecting, engaging, and messaging people at the right time with the right type of information, getting them the right information in front of the right person to push them, like I said, off the platform into book meetings, calendar appointments, phone conversations. So we're going to talk about LinkedIn today. And if you guys really teach your partners and stress to your partners what they can get off LinkedIn, if they're willing to put in a little bit of effort, sweat equity, and do the necessary things daily and weekly to build the brand, build the presence, and then extract value out of that effort. We start with LinkedIn mostly because it generates the most leads for us. And it's not just for us, it's for a lot of different industries, companies, sectors. LinkedIn is a go-to platform. And then when you look at LinkedIn for lead generation, both of these graphics here that show that LinkedIn has definitely a commanding lead over the other online platforms in terms of lead generation. If you're talking or you want to talk business or you want to find business people, the ability to recruit talented professionals on LinkedIn is one of the #1 reasons why I'm there. Also, if you're trying to drive stuff, whether it's additional content, whatever it might be, LinkedIn is a great way, like we talked about, to build your brand and then initiate conversations and really go out there and start, connecting, branding, and executing in the LinkedIn environment. One of the easiest ways that, when we talk about those message boards, all of the messages that you've ever sent to somebody are right there in the thread. So the more often that you can get into the habit of congratulating your network on new jobs, job anniversaries, it fills up that message center with positive interactions. It builds the relationship. So when you're going to them for purposes of marketing, lead magnets, funnels, whatever it might be, it allows you to open more conversations, because even though you might not have had a prior conversation with that person, those positive interactions, it builds that rapport, trust, credibility that we're looking for. And don't forget the message series. So if you're messaging people on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that it's not a pitch. You don't want to be too spammy. You want to try to get in front of them with some type of value points, something that they would be interested in, AKA the lead magnets that we're setting up. And you also want to make sure that, hey, if I've got things working for me, automation, then I want to continue with that theme. And Linked Helper is a great service for things like messaging, because Linked Helper 2 now allows you to set up workflows. So in a campaign level, I can set up, a number of things that are going to be done over a specific period of time. Then I can just let this thing go to work. So remember, the more automation that you have, it's like hiring employees that you don't have to pay, that never need a break, vacation, they're never in a bad mood. So the more of this that you can do, the easier it is to build that pipeline and have people in different cycles of communication, which is ultimately filling those outcomes on the other side. LinkedIn is a huge opportunity, guys. And if you don't look at yourself as like a content writer or a writer at all, understand that those skills can be, you can gain those skills, and you can also start to learn that skill set online. We always talk about educating yourself every day, every week, every month. The things that you need might be different from the things that I need or the next person needs. That's why your education, the learning time that you spend, should be, honed in on what you're trying to accomplish. Look at this. There's 9 billion content impressions on the LinkedIn feed weekly, and only 3 million users share content weekly. So what that means is, if you're willing to go out there, better your craft, put some good stuff out there, there's a lot of eyes that are going to see it. Lots of eyes, much less content. What is that? That's an opportunity for us, guys, because most people that are on LinkedIn aren't really sharing content, and they're not really sharing that great of content. So A, content is rewarded, and B, really good content is really rewarded. So what does somebody need? Let's say that you hire a partner and they don't even have a LinkedIn account. Well, what do they need? Well, they say, I'm not going to be able to use LinkedIn because I don't have a lot of connections. Well, You need, in the beginning, what we just talked about. You need content over followers. The followers will come if you put good content out there, if you do what you need to do on a daily basis. And remember, this isn't like Twitter where you've got constant stuff coming through the feed. You know, anywhere from 4 to max 6, 7 posts on LinkedIn per week is really enough to get it going. And if you're going to post, let's say 4, those 4 need to be well thought out and not just thrown together. Video, guys, it makes a big difference. And going forward, we've been talking about this for the last couple of years, but pretty much going forward, most of the IP traffic online is going to be video over the next few years. So if a picture is worth 1,000 words, video is going to be worth a lot more. So when you're thinking of content marketing, it's not just, you know, posting memes, posting written articles and things like that. It's about sharing some of yourself, getting out there with video content. It's all the stuff that none of us really like, makes us feel really uncomfortable. All the growth happens outside of your comfort zone. And if you have no idea what to post, go to Google, go to a search engine and just type in, you know, video content ideas to post on LinkedIn. All of this stuff, guys, we live in the era of big data. You can go out there and find, learn, educate yourself on anything that you want to. So go out there, start, learn, and then get good at the stuff that you put online, because that ultimately is where your personal branding, your authenticity, your engagement comes from. LinkedIn, when we've talked about this before, Facebook has reached scale. So if you're going to do anything on your Facebook profile, you know, most of the time they want you to buy ad space to get a big visibility. Well, in LinkedIn, you know, they haven't reached scale yet. So what that means for us, if we're willing to go out and do the work, they're going to reward us for it. They're going to promote us. And then once they reach scale, they'll decrease the organic visibility to sell more ad space. Pretty easy to understand, but not going to last forever. So take advantage of this. You probably got, I don't know, 24 months or so, really to take advantage of LinkedIn and get your organic presence built before this actually happens. If you've ever seen like content on other platforms disappear quickly, the good thing about LinkedIn is if you put something quality out there, like I've had a post last for weeks, and I've seen it come back maybe even a month or so later where somebody interacted with that. So content will stay on the feed for days or weeks. Any person in your network that comments on your post, it'll show their feeds, giving content true viral effect by pushing it out. So once again, LinkedIn will reward you for putting together good content. This is the algorithm. We talked about this before, and basically you can look at this on your own. I'll post it in the Facebook group, but when you're looking at this, it basically boils down to an easy to follow blueprint. So first of all, your posts need to be in-house. What does that mean? That means that if I'm on LinkedIn and I see your post, I should be able to fully engage with that post without leaving the LinkedIn platform. That's a very important part. And then the other part is velocity. So the traction that I get, the earlier traction and velocity on engagement and all of this other stuff, that will help. The in-house plus the velocity is really what's going to reward you on the LinkedIn algorithm. So in-house, that's basically inside versus outside. So do they have to leave the LinkedIn platform to fully engage with the rest of your posts, or can everything be done inside the platform? Obviously, LinkedIn wants you to stay inside the platform. So that's one of the things they'll reward you for. And then the quick engagement, that's likes, comments, shares, reactions. One of the things that we can do, and we're going to talk about, is help each other out. So even though that I'm not in your persona because we're already business partners, I can help you or you can help me on posts. And that's really, really important. And I think we forget to help our partners out, especially in the beginning. If somebody takes time to craft something and it doesn't get much reaction at all, it's kind of deflating in terms of, and defeating in terms of an experience. If your partners can go in and at least give you a little bit of likes and encouragement, it helps you next time think about a positive experience in the last post versus a negative. So let's go back to the basics, because you guys have to be able to understand what LinkedIn is, the power of it for yourself. You also have to be able to teach your partners. So one of the things that you have to make sure that you do and your partners do is you want to be found. You're not, this isn't a secret agent. Make sure your profile is visible to the public. Visibility of your profile, that's where it is in the menu. Second of all, you're not looking for a job. You're not, coming out of college, you're not coming out of another job looking for something else to do. You've already got not a job, but a business. So what you need to start thinking about is your LinkedIn profile as a marketing machine instead of just a resume type, output. The banner, guys, the banner, and some of you guys should play with your banners a little bit, because your banner has to tell it clear, concise, to the point, what's in it for me to connect with you? How are you going to help me? What are the problems, perceived problems that people are having? Once again, if you're honing into a persona, it's not that bad to go on LinkedIn and talk directly to that persona, because obviously you're using LinkedIn and I'm using LinkedIn. We're all using LinkedIn to get results. So you have to understand, that banner is the first thing that somebody's going to see when they land on your profile. Has to say something. It can't just be a bunch of meaningless words. And then the summary. The summary section is going to basically tell, your prospects, relate the pains and struggles as an entrepreneur, online marketer, digital business owner, whatever it might be, whatever it is that you're going out there and talking to, the summary section needs to use the feel, felt, found method. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. And what I found, or when I found this system, when I found this company, when I found this opportunity, use emojis. Remember, if you're marketing, people are visible. They see pictures, they see emojis. That's very, very important. And then add videos, images to every possible section. Once again, people see things first. You need to endorse your connections for skills. All of these things, if it's not something that people are seeing in terms of the summary and the banner, if you're endorsing your connections for their skills, that's more positive interactions. And I do that, like, let's say I have a phone call, it's an intro call, phone interview, whatever it might be, and it came off LinkedIn. Immediately when that phone call is done, I'll go in and endorse them for a couple of skills, just to have another positive interaction. But also, if I emailed them, texted them something, that's kind of like an indirect reminder. Oh yeah, Mike sent me that stuff. I need to get through it. And then have a call to action. Once again, if you own like a retail clothing store, you never had any price tags, or you never had anything for sale, obviously that sounds ludicrous. Same thing here. You're trying to drive people to take action steps. And then also, you need to learn how to connect with influencers in your industry. So even if it's not connecting with them directly, myself, Alana, we've got a lot of good connections just off comments of people like, if Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, somebody like that has a post, go in there, make a comment. Sometimes I'll get a connection request. Hey, saw your comment in the Gary Vee post, really interested in connecting with you. So once again, it's all just making connections, putting yourself out there, building a personal brand, and making sure that everything that you do, it's not a pitch, a recruit, or a sale. It's just providing value to your network. Join groups. Guys, if I'm looking for a real estate agent, I'm looking for an insurance agent, where's a good place to find them? In that group that's nothing but real estate and insurance agent people. So once again, if you're new to LinkedIn, or your partner is, groups are a great way to provide velocity, because the connection process in the very beginning is going to be a little bit slow. So groups are a great way to find people I'm looking for, have the ability to talk to them, because remember, if I'm a third connection with somebody, but we share a group, I can go ahead and message them directly to either ask them to connect or for another reason. And then get creative and think outside the box. I think my main message to you guys going forward for the back half of this year, next year, get creative in your online, your profiles, the way you talk to people, what you put out, be interesting. Look at the people that are doing it well, mimic those people. Look at everybody else in the crowd that's not doing it well. And then if your stuff is lining up with that group, you want to do the opposite. You want to be a contrarian here. So the like, celebrate, love, insightful, curious, all these engagements, one of the things that kind of Alana and I set for goals for ourselves on your post in LinkedIn, first thing you want to get to is 100 reactions. If you're constantly posting things that are getting 100 reactions, that's a good first step. After that, you want to build up to 100 plus comments. So there's a stepping stone kind of that you want to follow. Now, you're not going to go from 0 reactions and engagements to 100, but that's kind of like the first thing. Once you reach triple digit engagements on LinkedIn, that's a good sign for things to come. Not going to go through all this, guys. You know the difference in what this stuff is, but all of this stuff, the total engagement, clicks, plays, share, likes, comments, follows, it's all important in the circulation of what you put out, as well as what you're trying to do with building of the audience, the network. All right, so let's talk about content that actually works on LinkedIn. People want to know you, and this is one of the hardest things for a lot of people, including myself. You know, a lot of us are private people, but people want to know you. They want to know your passions, your sense of humor, what makes you someone worth paying attention to. You know, why should you listen to what I have to say? You have valuable stories to share. You know things, which is why you're doing the work that you're doing. Sharing your knowledge, expertise, experience on LinkedIn can help other people achieve their dreams. So when you're looking at this, you can educate, you can put out material without pitching, without selling, and that indirectly drives your level of expertise in the field, which will drive some questions in the messages, as well as some connection requests. You've got to, like we talked about the algorithm, you've got to commit to both hosting and promoting your LinkedIn content. Treat LinkedIn as like a main center hub for yourself and a unique platform. So, you know, from a worker's perspective, LinkedIn kind of replaces that old school resume. But in our situation, LinkedIn is our main hub, and then everything around LinkedIn in terms of revolving. We want to make sure that we give LinkedIn the importance and the effort and the attention that it deserves, knowing that it'll reward us. So, you know, take your LinkedIn status update and cross promote, cross market on other channels. The key is getting your URL in front of as many people to drive engagement and tell the LinkedIn algorithm that your update is worthy of more eyeballs. If you think of kind of going around, you know, the revolution of, let's say, a month, a week, a year, whatever on LinkedIn, they're not going to give your content visibility if you're promoting something else or other networks. Pretty easy to understand. You need to build trust. It's not going to happen in 1-2 days with the algorithm by creating content specifically for LinkedIn. Since I started doing this, guys, I've seen a big jump in my engagement and what I'm trying to do here. It takes time and repetition before you can do so. Start now, stay true to it, and then LinkedIn will start rewarding you. When you post something, you've got a very limited space. You need to use hooks and stories in your post. An engaging hook is critical to stop people from scrolling. We talked about before, Facebook, guys, people scroll the length of the Statue of Liberty every day on Facebook. Same thing with other social platforms. What you've got to do is give them a reason to stop, even for a second or two. You know, good image, you know, good hook will do that for you. And when you're thinking about content, like I said, you can go to Google and look up content, but these are some ideas: the relatable story, the lesson learned, the thought provoker, the open-ended question, the personal moment, controversial point of view, the giveaway, the ego bait, the hack. All of these things are just ideas that you can go out there. And if you're looking for people to engage, if you're looking for people to share, one of the easiest things that you can do that we forget most of the time is ask your audience to do this. If you've got a question, ask them to answer it. All right, so let's talk about this for a moment. Helpful tips for LinkedIn. Number one, write text-only posts on LinkedIn. Now, the image is very, very important, but you have to mix it up a little bit when you're, you know, and when you do the same thing over and over and over again, it gets watered down. So you want to mix it up. And sometimes a text-only post on LinkedIn, not too long, is a great way to kind of break out of the monotony of the memes and get, you know, something else in front of people. Use emojis. Once again, visualization. People are visual. Take advantage of that. Like your own LinkedIn post, not immediately, but maybe if you've got an older post that's been in for a few days and it's getting recycled, getting some attention, go in there and like that. Make sure you're liking people's comments, responding back to the comments. That's all important. Share and embed your own LinkedIn post. Once again, spread it around. Make sure people understand. And if the LinkedIn algorithm catches, you know, outside views coming into LinkedIn, They're going to love that, you guys. Comment on other people's posts. It's not just about you. If you want other people to comment, make sure you take time out of your day, not too much time, but just go through and find a few things to comment on. And use LinkedIn native video, meaning that if I have to go to YouTube or if I have to go somewhere else to see the video that you posted, that's breaking the algorithm, because now I have to leave the LinkedIn social media platform to fully engage with what you're trying to post. Tip number 7, encourage engagement in the first hour. Remember, that velocity is so important. If you can get that velocity in the first hour, it's very, very important to the algorithm. Don't post too much. LinkedIn is not one of those things where you're just posting all day. Like I said, 4 to 7 a week is perfect. Include no more than 3 hashtags. We don't have a bunch of hashtags on here. Kind of takes away from the post. And I rarely, if ever, tag people. But if you're going to tag them to congratulate them or say thanks or whatever it might be, not just to pull them into your post for no reason. And then tip number 11. Now, if you've got a brand new LinkedIn, or you've got a few hundred, or not that many connections, this is not something you want to do. But after you get a few thousand connections, you can use the follow first strategy. And there's the URL down there. What that means, that when somebody lands on your page or your profile, the first thing they can do is follow. And that's pretty important, because you're only allowed to have 30,000 direct connections. You can have as many followers as you want. So let's talk about research. When we're thinking about the content ideas, what are people talking about? That's what I look for. And things like Reddit or Quora, those are people talking about all types of subjects. It's a great place to do research for things like content posting on platforms like LinkedIn. Publish longer LinkedIn posts to activate the see more feature. Remember, you get that couple of lines after that see more. The algorithm loves it when people click to see more. And if you're like at an event, you can create like a carousel and post 6 photos at once. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to share your life, to break away from just the meme posting that a lot of us do, and get into a small fraction or a small percentage of people who are actually really dominating LinkedIn. Then if you're going to share valuable PDFs on LinkedIn, when you start a post, you can share pictures, you can share video, and you can share files. You can also write articles. There's a bunch of different stuff that you can do to fill up your profile. So when somebody lands on it, it's not a skeleton. You have posts, you have articles, you have call to actions, you have a nice storefront, basically, from a digital perspective on LinkedIn. And then play the LinkedIn algorithm. You guys understand what they're looking for. Go out and make it happen. Best time to post on LinkedIn. It's not a one size fits all, but really Mondays and Fridays, it's kind of an off day. During the weekends, I'm really never on LinkedIn. So if you really want to get a lot of damage done on LinkedIn, Tuesday through Thursday, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2 p.m., depending on your time zone. Obviously, we talked about worst times of the weekends or outside of business hours. So if you're going to post something and you need that first hour to give you as much value as possible, post it on a Sunday. That's not what you want. You want to post on those days where the most people, the biggest audience is possible on the platform. Like we talked about, LinkedIn is dying for you to get involved right now. People, they're going to reward you. And if you do this right over the next 18, 24 months, they'll reward you in a big way. People don't do businesses with companies they don't know. Part of a lot of our agents' problems is people don't know you. They don't know you're in business. You're not doing enough to say, hey, I'm in business and this is what I do. With all the noise on the web, it's harder and harder to break through without paying for it. Use this as an opportunity to create value in your marketplace, spread your reach. It's not going to give you maybe direct results and sales, but it will help your overall marketing efforts, which leads into later sales, revenue, income growth. Another thing that you guys can really take away from this is, if you want to talk to a certain group of people, call them out. Hey, digital marketers. Hey, insurance agents. Hey, real estate agents. Hey, homeowners. Look at this. And this is a great way, like I said, if you got a funnel that's specific to a certain type of person, hey, X, look at this. We've got Y for you. So this is a great way to call people out. It'll catch their attention. And then that's, kind of gatewaying them into the persona that you're looking to talk to. We talked about this a few minutes ago. We can help each other. If you see your partner's post on LinkedIn or anywhere, go in and like it, put a comment, help it get circulating for them. The more that you can help your partners out, the easier it is for them to go forward and feel better knowing they've got people that have their back as they start to build this before they have that big audience. Another way that you guys can help each other is in your back end, there's a place for teammates. So if you guys have XYZ company and your partner has XYZ company in their profile, you guys can list each other on teammates. And then what'll happen is when that person posts something, you'll get an alert, hey, your teammate just posted. Once again, it's a great way to go through and help your teammates out or to receive help from your teammates as you're trying to get used to what you need to do on LinkedIn. And up until that point, you've got enough other type of engagement where you don't really need your teammates. Like we talked about, it's a huge organic potential opportunity. Don't connect with random people. It drags down and confuses the algorithm. Search and find your target audience. Hashtag first, second degree connections, those who work in relevant industries. Use keywords and hashtags to call out who you're trying to reach. LinkedIn will boost your post to those people if you let the algorithm know who you're trying to contact. Send a connection request with a personalized message. Doesn't have to be very long, just something. I go back and forth. I'll connect without a message, and I will connect with a message if I've got a certain reason why I'm trying to connect. Focus on video content. Create a mix of pre-recorded and live video that will be relevant to your audience. Connect with your audience through personal stories. Once again, you guys have to get authentic and personal on these platforms and use the first and second lines of your post to write a really engaging hook. Always interact with the engagement. This is something I've got to work on. This is something that Alana's really good at. Don't kill a conversation by saying, hey, great point, thank you for commenting. Keep it going, because if you're trying to get to 100 engagements and then 100 comments, well, if you're commenting back, it's a lot easier to get to 100 versus all 100 coming from the other side. So some things that you can do that can hurt or help you here, and use curated content to keep your audience engaged. Ask for their opinion. Once again, if you want engagement, one of the easiest ways to get that engagement is ask for it. And then quality over quantity. We talked about LinkedIn doesn't need you to post a lot. They need you to post good stuff. And don't focus solely on creating content. You need to focus on promotion to get good results. So once again, it's not all about me, but it is all about building my personal brand, building that rapport, trust, credibility, so people can come back to me and either ask for additional information, want to talk, get on my calendar, whatever it is. One of the things that we're going to do going forward over the next few weeks is break down some more social media platforms and go through how to use these funnels that we're building to get yourself in a position where you've got a massive amount of people coming through the top. The automations take care of itself, and you're getting calendar appointments and fixing any hiccups or errors along the way. One of the things I want to close out with today real quick is David is going in September to Scottsdale to an event. So when you're thinking about, well, how do I kind of take some of my personal story and put it on a platform like LinkedIn, it's a great way. As he's driving down there, as he's doing the event, there's a lot of different ways that as we're getting back out, as the restrictions are being lifted, as we're going to conventions, as we're going to relevant business opportunities, share that. And that will help you bring a personal element to what you're trying to do on a platform like LinkedIn.